Welcome to the news for this, the 24th week of 2021. I'm Matt Miller. This is Trekzone. And before we get into it, a quick reminder that you can get behind-the-scenes goss and early access to all Trekzone podcasts by becoming a member today. Click the join button on any Trekzone video on YouTube, go to the Trekzone/support, or put your phone up to the QR code that is on screen throughout this show. Plus, follow us on Twitter, subscribe to the YouTube channel, or podcast feeds wherever you listen, and leave comments and ratings. Now, onto the news. We have our first look at the second season of Star Trek Picard with a shiny trailer dropping to mark Captain Picard Day. We open on Chateau Picard with a confused Picard calling out for Laris. As his confusion mounts, Q appears and remarks that he's quite a bit older than he imagined. We cut to an establishing shot of a conference at Starfleet Command, representatives and flags of Klingon, Tala, the UFP, Starfleet Academy, Vulcan, Bajor, and the Ferengi all adorn a wall. An interesting mix, I think. Possibly a conference to discuss the Romulan crisis of the 2380s, but Picard's uniform and comm badge combo are out of step with what we learnt about them in the first season. Cut to a few shots of our other cast, Elnor and Raffi running from trouble on city streets, Laris, Soji or Daj, Dr. Girardi and Rios, all looking at various levels of confused and menacing. An alternative Starfleet badge is shown on Rios before we see Seven or Annika waking up startled with an alternate UFP badge on the nightstand. She looks in the mirror and sees no ocular implant. And she also has what appears to be a wedding band on her finger. A poster was also released showing a current day, or close to it, Los Angeles, with highways photoshopped to form the Starfleet Delta. Are we travelling back to now time in Season 2? Only time will tell. Picard Season 2 is expected next year. Some new stills from Prodigy have been released. Paramount Plus calling these environmental coverage shots, each showing a different alien environment for the show set in the Delta Quadrant 5 years after the events of Star Trek Voyager. We're still waiting for word on an international release. Our current working theory here at Trekzone is that the rebranded 10 All Access to Paramount Plus later this year will carry the show here for Australian audiences at least, possibly even broadcasting on 10's multi-channel 10 Shake, which houses a mix of Viacom CBS content across the day, focusing on kids during daylight hours. On the hustings for her upcoming Netflix zombie movie Army of the Dead, Tig Notaro has spoken about Jett Reno's Discovery appearances in Season 4. We first saw Jett in Season 2, before a few episodes in Season 3. Notaro saying to Metro Weekly, quote, "I have a stand-up career and a million other things to do. I try to do as much as I can on Star Trek, but I just don't have the time." She assuages fans' fears, though, that Alex Kurtzman will kill off Reno. He's assured her that the character will never be killed off, and her sarcastic dynamism with Anthony Rapp has transferred on screen, with often feisty Reno and Stamets content always guaranteed. Star Trek Fleet Command has celebrated Captain Picard Day with more TNG content, including a live-action promo featuring 3 TNG stars. This is worth a watch. Let's roll it.
Yes!
Did one of you guys just fire on me?
I thought our cloaking device was on.
LeVar said he fixed it.
All right, guys, cloaking is fixed. What did you guys do? Oh, no.
Very, very cool. I love that. I love seeing all of those guys back together again whenever they do it. Well, last month, the mobile game expanded to include content from TNG, including 5 playable arcs. Now they've added more, including renowned epic officer Captain Jean-Luc Picard and rare officer Wesley Crusher to bolster ranks and increase your power against enemies. There are also 10 new TNG missions, including 5 that are Picard-themed. The updates even offer a new selection of avatars cars and frames, including the legendary Picard facepalm, to add some TNG flair. Well, what a week on Trekzone. We started with Emmett Plant beaming back in to update us on the week that was following the first part of our chat being released. We caught up on the Star Trek news, learnt about how we might be able to get to Alpha Centauri in the real world in just one lifetime instead of thousands of years with Dr. Brad and Talkin' Science. Robert Hewitt-Wolf dropped by to chat DS9 and his life afterwards. We recapped our Talkin' Lower Decks episode and learnt about a thermally stable material that Professor Niraj Sharma is working on. Plus that time when we first met Trek Geek Dan and dropped by Goldenova in 2015. And coming up this week, Larry Nemeczek, Dr. Trek himself, is our special guest on Talkin' Trek as we look at Picard's first season from last year. We've got the cutscenes of Star Trek Armada as Trekzone Plays returns, and we'll take you to the physics annex of the University of Queensland to learn about quantum microscopy. And that's all ahead of a 2-week road trip to Canberra. Don't miss a moment. Subscribe and ring the bell on our YouTube channel. Subscribe to our podcast feed in your favourite app and sign up for the mailing list on our website. That is, of course, Trekzone.org. We'll have exclusive behind-the-scenes content from the road trip for our members. So get the early lowdown on what's to come. Scan the QR code right now and become a member. Leave a comment on YouTube too. Let's chat about the stories this week. But for now, and as always, I'm Matt Miller for Trekzone.
Keep up to date with Twitter. Catch new podcasts daily on YouTube. Plus, we're beaming to your favorite podcast app 5 days a week. Just search for Trekzone and subscribe.